You can't. Hello, welcome. Thank you for turning up. Thank you for coming. Sorry, I'm a little bit late today, so to keep you waiting there. Got a little bit to talk about what's going on in the week. Looking forward to my Formula One today, as you can see. Get the Ricciardo because he's leaving the team. He's leaving McLaren, so that's it. Number 3, Ricciardo. He's going. So get cheap T-shirts from McLaren. There you go. Brilliant. Do it. Anyway, what we're going to talk about today, we've got a few things. First of all, I wanted to just talk about this person initially. All right, this is such a sad thing, and it really hits the policing community. Daniel Golding, it's just so sad. He was a motorcyclist, police motorcyclist. He was on duty, and he was involved in a fatal road traffic collision. He died at the scene, and he himself was a fatal investigator himself, and he had previously been in Hampshire and Surrey Police, and he was wanted to get onto SCG and Met, and that's why he went to the Met. And it's just such sad. You see some faces, photographs, you know exactly the character they are already. Camping with his 14-year-old and another younger one, I think. It's just awful, and it just shows horrible things like that can happen out the blue to anyone, even the most skilled. I ride a big bike, and I always have a very healthy respect every time I get on it, but I know the great majority of which I know I can control, but sometimes it's not in your command as such. That's a cake fine. Yes, Mick, it is. It is a cake fine for being late. I'll tell you why I'm late. I was here, but with a few things whirling, since I got my computer back for repair, the HDMI lead doesn't work, which means I can't put the other screen in. So I've had to put a converter in for a USB into a HDMI to shove it into the second screen. And I think it's just a little bit slow. So I hope you understood all that, because I just about did. Might just take it back to the adult again and see if you can get my HDMI port to work, because it's not been so far. Afternoon. So we got everyone from... we have everyone on YouTube, so thank you very much. I don't know if Twitter, I'll be able to check in a minute if Twitter's getting it, but we cannot get questions from Twitter, so you have to come on YouTube. So sorry. Twitter's a bit funny like that. Okay, let's talk about this one, which was very quickly. I don't want to dwell too much on it, because I'm sure she is fed up with the whole world looking at her. But this is Awami Davies, who was student nurse, went missing, and I will say, I am also fed up with the default position being that the police are racist if things don't go particularly perfect, and you get the usual former superintendents who are pulling a nice police wage, and they come out and they go onto Newsnight and they say things that are really controversial about the Met Police. Give them another kicking while they're down, and they know the system. They know about how missing persons are looked at. It is systematic. It is a person comes in as missing. In my force, it would be, there was always someone who was in charge of that missing person. Okay, so in the Met, you're going to have these huge departments that are, and I knew someone who worked on these, and they are non-stop looking at the ones coming through, threat assessing them to see who are the priorities, and they are making sure that every inquiry that can happen has happened, and they have ownership over that job. Consider 180,000 missing persons coming in every year in the UK alone. 180,000 for 43 officers, for 43 forces, rather. Stupid amount. A lot of these are repeated. They go missing. You take them back to the care home. They walk out of the care home because the care home doesn't lock them in, because they say, well, we don't want to be accused of assault and stuff like that, even though they have a parental responsibility to keep these youngsters in, and you are able to use reasonable force in order to do so. Anybody, as part of the Children's Act, anyone who has parental responsibility can act like their parent, and the law protects them on that. However, they probably don't want huge fights every time. They think, well, these people are just going to climb out the window anyway. So, of course, and if you're young, I'm not saying this is different with a whammy here, but when you get the younger missing persons, they tend to go out the window or just out the front door, and they get drunk in the street, and 3 o'clock in the morning, they're getting up to no good. And I'd do exactly the same if I was a missing person. I felt if I was a kid who'd been abandoned by his family or never knew who the family was, and your whole environment is of, well, the world's out to get you. So you need to fight to survive and think, yeah, I'm just going to get the fun. I'm not going to sit in my room like a good boy or girl and do my homework and wait to get older and things, you know. Yeah, 180,000, Jacqueline, is just ridiculous. So, and I know very well, even the small force, even forces, county forces, are dealing with numerous missing persons, and they know that even though one person is going missing 7 days a week and they turn up when they're hungry, the minute you get blasé, then they'll say, why did you not check this, do this? So they have to go through the system each time. And it's immensely time consuming. And for example, you might have a very small city or a big town. You'll have 6 cars answering the 999 calls and the prompt calls. Not you've got routines, which are you can check out in a couple of days sort of thing, but then you've got your prompts that have to really be there within 20-25 minutes, and then you've got your immediates that need to be there in about 5 minutes or so. So but that's fading fast as well. You have to get rid of at least one of those cars to be permanently on the missing persons, to dealing with the missing persons. That's even a small county force. So with the Met, you are dealing with, this is a professional business of finding these missing persons. So don't think there is time. This is what angers me about these superintendents who I've been informed anyway that they were atrocious when they were in the job. So they come out and try to make a name for themselves, make a few quid by kicking the Met. And basically they know damn well the system, the work people put in. And speaking to those individuals who do that, they say, Harry, and this is of all races that deal with looking for missing persons. So don't just think white cops look for missing persons. It's not just given to the white cops and they go, oh, who could be red? Oh, well, we won't bother searching for her because she's black. This is what's portrayed. Do you think it's black? Yes, I think it's black. Why do you think it's black? Because don't checks happen with white people and things go slightly wrong, or that, we're not talking about huge neglect of duty here. We're checking the fact that it wasn't on the system because it hadn't been put on in time. And should it have done earlier? Maybe, but maybe they had 1,000 other checks on other people that were more priority. You just don't know. But these armchair experts come in and dissing these good men and women who are doing this thing. And I'll tell you now, what they do say to me is, and shouldn't be the case, but I'll be bold here. If they are people of color, they take even more time and effort on those because they know they are under massive scrutiny if things go wrong. That is the truth of it. That is the truth of it. They're not going to, if they threat assess it and they go, oh yeah, they're actually going to give them an even better service. And it shouldn't be like that, but it is, because we live in a reality, and we live in a reality where, there is a lot of scrutiny, and a lot of the scrutiny isn't fair. It's just not fair. So she's turned up. So that's wonderful. A whammy Davies. Excellent. I'm glad she's turned up, and I hope she gets her life. I hope she's happy soon, if that's the case. If that's what's happening at the moment. And then we have this. This is right. So then we have obviously this Olivia Corbell, I think it is. Excuse me with the pronunciation. What a sweet little darling she is, and she seemed to be an absolute sweetheart. Shot because some gang yob who isn't bloody mature enough to get themselves a proper job, getting upset because somebody said something nasty from another gang or postcode, or do you know what? I'm fed up with it. A bunch of children grow up, and they're tying people in by literally running after these the other gang member, bursting into some innocent person's house and heroically shooting a 9-year-old girl because she happened to be in her own house minding her own business. Fed up with these. And these are the sorts of jobs. I loved dealing with bullies with guns when I was on the armed response unit. There was nothing more satisfying than sticking a gun in their nostrils and seeing them absolutely wet themselves, because they realized the armed police would not hesitate in shooting them if that was required. So it's just so sad. However, not just one person has been arrested for her murder, but 2. We should be aware, of course, that just because people are arrested on suspicion of doesn't mean it's all tied up. It doesn't mean that. It means there's reason to talk to them, and we need to actually pin them down and get their account and things, and that's what they're doing on that one. Wanted to just let you know about this one here, and keep an eye on this one. Chief Inspector Darryl Leon from West Midlands Police, Darryl Leon, WMP. And basically, this one caught my eye because I like this. I like this. I like the fact that basically they got a grant of £2 million, and they have set up a group, 24 officers, and it's to target youths and gangs, county lines. So you get youngsters, and basically they're feeling disillusioned, whatever, and they think, usually single parents, you'll probably find statistically very much so. You need, contrary to the PC world, ideally you need a man and a woman in a family to have that cohesion. Old-fashioned chat, but it's true, because we just look at the statistics of single parents. The mother is working her backside off. The child is growing up and being influenced by all the wrong people and finding their father on the streets. And the father on the streets is a mature person with a big Mercedes and is saying, well, you can have some of this too. So it's no wonder, really, is it? And then through favor or threats or whatever, they get into crime. Well, this unit here, and it stemmed from a very successful job organisation in Northampton Police, where I think the violent crimes came down by 40%. It's a multi-agency, it's not just police, multi-agency, but at the end of the day, you still definitely need the police there to crack heads together, start nicking people where it needs. But obviously intercept those people who are there in an early stage and even mid-stage and even top, and then with the other agencies, find a route out of that vicious circle. So I like that. I like it. I do. Do you know what? It's a bit like old-fashioned policing. Old-fashioned policing, when you used to, and I remember just many a youngster in the back of my car taking them back, often missing persons. I'll say, why don't you just, and they go, you see that they're decent people, but they're just, it's a rut with the wrong mates and stuff like that. I like this. Mick, with his police dog handler, former police dog handler, with the most northern accent I've ever heard in my life. Only slightly stronger than his accent is his darling wife, who's absolutely lovely. I remember being involved in an armed stop with Ben and AFO's. Guy had firearms in his car. He got out and literally did wet himself. It does happen quite often, because they do know if they're with their gangs, they think, they might not have any bullets in the gun. They might be ladding it up. And they might miss because they're rubbish, because you can't actually train very much with them, especially the fully automatics. And But they know police officers are pretty disciplined and are accurate. If they shoot, they usually hit their mark. Yeah, so that's it. I like this as well. This is the sort of thing that gets love it. Come on, I love Superintendent Mark Lowry. I don't love Superintendent Mark Lowry. I'm sure I would if I knew him very well, but I don't. This is what we get out of bed for: simultaneous rapid entry for 2 attempted murder suspects. 4 a.m. briefing in a soaking wet car park in North London. An exceptionally professional briefing and deployment. Very proud to be associated with these officers. I just love that, and you'll find those officers there'll be some adrenaline going there. We're going to get our man tonight, because it usually is. Hello, Tom. Nice to see you. Welcome, Ipswich. So what have we got? Very cool. Rushing through. This one's a good one. I'm not going to play the video because my Cornwall Wi-Fi is struggling at the moment. We've only just got electricity down here in Cornwall, so Wi-Fi is an absolutely new concept. We have the Wi-Fi that goes that one there. That's the one we have. Yeah, police dog looking for single leaf head. Have a look at this on Sergeant Dave at Busting Crimes on Twitter. It is phenomenal. There is a dog, and you could see it probably. I'll just zoom into it. Maybe it'll be less. Have a look at this. So he's actually he's releasing his dog. He has put the letter R on the back of a leaf, and he is hidden it in this area. And I think I'm just going to zoom out. Forget that one because it's going to. Anyway, the dog goes around, sniffs all the leaves, turns them over one by one. Not quite. All right, I'm exaggerating. And he finds the one he's after. And I'll tell you how they do it, because I think it's particularly that's the police dog in the front of the crowd with that, and they also obviously track people. They're not like bloodhounds where they track a particular scent. So if you give them a piece of clothing from a missing person, they're like, what? So what? But what they will do, they will track the last track that was on there. But they're so clever that if another track goes across, they'll sniff that and they'll think, oh, this is the constant track. I'm going to carry on this one. I'm not going to turn left. They also know when the wind blows the scent into a driveway, that they'll go into that driveway, but they have a good chance they'll know that it's probably going to come out again. They won't go in the driveway and go, he's coming in. Where's he gone? Where's he gone? That sort of thing. And I taught Arthur, my little border terrier, to track very simply, because I'm at what you don't understand is the police dogs do a phenomenal amount more tracking and skills of upper levels, but I was able to do simply train him to track, which is a member, which is amazing. Basically, Mick says I'm an honorary Yorkshire man, Jacqueline, born in Lancashire, moved to Norfolk and was made in the Royal Navy, married Yorkshire lass. Yeah, it is. She's cracking accent. First time I met Mick, he gave me a big box of gold Yorkshire tea. So, so yeah. And the spaniels in particularly, and so they're not a specific sense. The spaniels and things like that tend to it started in Devon and Cornwall, went over to America and learned how to search for USB cards and things. So these tiny memory cards for pedophiles, drugs, gang members, that sort of thing, when they hide these things, and the dogs can locate them. So it's all good stuff. Yeah, I mentioned somebody's whining because they've been somebody I blocked ages ago. So again, it's usually former police officers who've been in 5 minutes, were terrible at what they did. So they've basically been pushed out because of their incompetence, or they left for various disgruntled reasons. And all they do now is, because they were never really police officers, all they do now is whinge and mank and pretending that oh yes, I'm a former police officer. Exactly how long were you a former police officer for? And how good were you? What did you actually do? Did you expect to go in there and find it an easy ride and find it wasn't? Because these are the most critical people. And now somebody's whinging openly on Twitter saying to the Met, somebody's made a complaint of harassment or something against me. Are you going to look into this, or are you treating it for the rubbish it is? Not the place to discuss a criminal offence allegation against you, is it? So but she's wanting the audience, and now, after she's made many other people a victim, she's wanting to be a victim herself. So comeuppance is had. Everything is alleged, of course, and we'll see how that goes. That goes on. How are we doing for time? We are coming up, racing up to that sort of, and of course, yeah, we got this, haven't we? National Dog Day, and I would personally like to say thank you to Arthur Dog because he has got, that's basic. Most of mine, I've just clicked onto the 45,000 followers on Twitter. Thank you. God knows how, because I bore myself, quite frankly. So thank you very much. I bore myself, and I frequently over-advertise a book called Farms and Fatals, and obviously the novel called The Cornish Scoop, which is based on experiences I had, and also 71,000 words into an 85,000 word book to follow up, another novel. But before I go into that, I'm going to just go into some talking about Arthur. He has been a phenomenal little pup. As you're probably aware, most of you, I'm going through a divorce at the moment. Most cops, I mean, most people do, don't they? So yeah, it's been particularly stressful. I have and although timing wise, it's been my mum, who's just got dementia, has got dementia over the last year, and I've been looking after her full time for the last year. So here's a little cheerful picture of, and she's never really a dog person, but since having Arthur around a lot, she is phenomenally a dog person, and you can see how it cheers her up when I can eventually open it up. It just, for me, yeah, you know, everyone who goes through a divorce has some really rubbish times, don't they? They have some horrible times, however smooth or rough it may be. But we all know that that dog, just to be there, non-judging, absolutely just is a reason to get out and go for a walk along the cliffs, and to go to a cafe for a coffee, write a few more, a couple of other 1,000 words, that sort of thing. Yeah, so, and all my pictures of my dogs are not coping very well on this system, so I'm going to actually have to leave that, I reckon. Here we go. Let's bring this one up. So I thought I'll bring this one up. I won't bother with the others then, because it's struggling. And that is my mother, me, and Arthur. Bless her. She's cracking, but hard work. As everyone who knows, who they've looked after someone with dementia, it is definitely police shifts, morning, night, and day. But it's absolutely, it's lovely to have this time now between jobs, so to speak, to spend that time and get another relationship with your mum. You know, when you're in your early 50s, like me, and you haven't had that really, because it was like, see her once every 6 months sort of thing. And to be in this position, and it happens to an awful lot of everyone around here. People I speak to, one of their relatives has had dementia and coping with that. I'm in a fortunate position where I'm able to look after her for however long it might take. So, and in the meantime, I write books. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming. And I'm going to start my personal one. This is a frontline chat one. I'm going to start my personal one, Harry Tangye YouTube channel. Do a little bit more on that. It might be a little bit more forthright, because I believe I'm blending into the crossing over the line a little bit with this one. So I've got to be a little bit careful and keep this formal, because Dave Wardell will definitely want to come back. He definitely wants to come back. Can't explain the details, but he is unable to at the moment. I'm afraid it must be very frustrating for people who don't know what it's about, but there's real reasons. I will see you later. Thank you.